am an 18-year-old guy and a freshman in college. I go to school in my hometown so that for my first year, I can live with my parents and save money on student housing. I go to Montana State University in Billings, the state's largest city. And no, we don't ride horses to school. We have cars. In school, I still knew and hung out with most of my high school friends that decided to stay in town for school as well. But in my calculus class, I didn't know anyone. I am pretty outgoing and can easily start a conversation with a stranger, but I strangely found it hard to make friends in that class. Eventually, I just gave up and went to class to learn rather than make friends. About 2 weeks into school, this guy I hadn't seen in class before started to sit near me. He would always come in around 10 minutes late and would sit as close to me as possible. It weirded me out, so I would sit as far from the door as possible to see if he was actually trying to sit near me. I observed that he would enter class late and walk past at least 10 open chairs just to sit beside, in front of, or behind me. He had this creepy vibe. His hair was always messed up and greasier than a McDonald's burger. His clothes were ripped up and looked ancient, and his hands were always black with dirt. I am a neat freak and always keep myself and my things clean and organized. So just looking at him repulsed me a little bit. He also looked way older than the rest of the class, almost like he was 40. He started to fall behind in class since he never took notes, and he started asking me for help. Even though he looked creepy and gross, he seemed very nice and shy. I felt bad for him and would explain problems to him when he asked me to, but tried to keep it casual and not be overly nice. One day he asked me for my Snapchat so that he could get help when we weren't in class, since calc was only a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. After hesitation, I gave him my username. Strangely, he wrote it on his arm in huge letters with a king-size Sharpie. After class, I was getting in my car to go home and saw that he had already added me and Snapchatted me. I groaned and regretted giving him my username. I got in my car and drove the 20 minutes home. By the time I arrived, I had forgotten about it and went about my day. I should mention now a girl's name added me on Snapchat on this day too, so I added her back. Even though I didn't know who it was, later that night I got another Snapchat from him. I opened it. The first one from earlier that day was of his arm with my username on it. The caption had a ton of blushing faces on it, more than I could care to count. The second was a shirtless picture of him in a bathroom mirror, but it looked like a gas station bathroom. It said the jeans you wore today were so tight around you, and I couldn't stop staring. I was immediately weirded out and considered blocking him. I thought better of it though, and wanted to avoid an awkward situation in the next class we had together. I didn't reply to him and went about my night. I had a few friends over and left my phone sitting on the couch, and one of my friends picked it up and said, "Dude, who's this Jefferson guy? He sent you like 20 snaps?" I grabbed my phone and scrolled through my notifications. I clicked on one and it brought me to the chat section of Snapchat. The messages started off with him asking why I never replied, and got increasingly more angry and aggressive as they went down. Then a picture popped up and I opened it. It was of my front door and it read, "Come out right now," in all caps with about 100 exclamation points. I suddenly remembered I had my location on for Snap Maps and he had tracked me to my house. I immediately screenshotted the picture and the messages. One of my friends recommended calling the police, but I wasn't worried since I didn't think he could get in. Flash forward 2 weeks and I hadn't seen the guy since. One night I was watching people's stories and came across Jefferson again. I was horrified because I thought I blocked him. I looked at the username and saw that it was the username that I thought was a girl, adding me all that time ago. He had made a fake Snapchat, knowing I would probably end up blocking him. His story was even creepier though. It was a picture of me walking with my friends in a parking lot earlier that day. I was pissed now. I messaged him and asked why he wouldn't just leave me alone, and why he couldn't realize I didn't want to be his friend. He only replied with more pictures of me taken over the last couple of weeks. Me walking me, driving me at the movies with my friends, me at a restaurant downtown with a girl I liked. I was so completely creeped out that I blocked him again. I wish I had saved the pictures. But after I pressed charges for stalking, I imagine the photos will be subpoenaed for evidence. I have since turned off my location for Snapchat, and I only add back people that I know.